appropriate for today because St. Therese is the doctor of the Church who teaches the way of spiritual childhood, the little way of being children before God. And indeed, it's tremendous. She only lived to be 24 years old. She didn't live very long, but in that short period of time, she pierced the mysteries of God, and she understood the heart of the gospel and lived it in a way that very few people have. She took the greatest spiritual teachers, St. Teresa of Avila and St. John of the Cross, who have incredible rich teaching for us about how to pray, but she lived it in a very practical way that's accessible to anyone. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I can't read that, that's too hard, right? But she shows us it really isn't difficult at all. We just have to have complete trust in God, like a child in its mother's arms. I want to share with you just a couple of things that just show you the childlike spirit of St. Therese, one of which was her day of her first communion. I want you to hear her reflection. She's writing about that experience that she had when she received Jesus for the first time. Listen to this. How sweet was that first kiss of Jesus. It was a kiss of love. I felt that I was loved, and I said, I love you, and I give myself to you forever. There were no demands made, no struggles, no sacrifices. For a long time now, Jesus and the poor little Therese looked at and understood each other. That day, it was no longer simply a look, it was a fusion. They were no longer two. Therese had vanished as a drop of water is lost in the immensity of the ocean. Jesus alone remained. He was the master, the king. Had not Therese asked him to take away her liberty? For her liberty frightened her. She felt so feeble and fragile that she wanted to be united forever to the divine strength. Her joy was too great, too deep for her to contain, and tears of consolation soon flowed, to the great consternation of her friends. They all asked one another, why is she crying? Is there something bothering her? No, it's because her mother was not there, or her sister whom she loved so much, right? They didn't understand that all the joy of heaven having entered her heart, this exiled heart was unable to bear it without shedding tears. Oh no, the absence of Mama didn't cause me any sorrow on the day of my first communion. Her mother had died when she was 4 years old, and so she was maybe missing her mother. She's like, no. Hadn't Mama taken her place there in heaven a long time ago, since heaven was in my soul? In receiving Jesus' visit, I received also Mama's. Just the secret of the Eucharist. We receive everything in heaven in my soul when I receive him. Oh, she blessed me and rejoiced in my happiness. I was not crying because of my sister's absence. I would have been happy to see her by my side, but for a long time, I'd accepted my sacrifice of her. Her sister had joined the convent, and so she wasn't at home. On that day, joy alone filled my heart, and I united myself to her who gave herself irrevocably to him who gave himself to me. See how the Eucharist binds us all together? She knew her sister was in the convent celebrating Mass. She knew her sister was with her. Her mother who had died was in heaven. She knew she had just received her, because anyone united to Jesus is in the Eucharist when you receive him. That's why it's impossible for us to hate our brothers and sisters. It's impossible, because you cannot say, I want to receive Holy Communion, but I hate my brother or sister, because you're receiving them in the Eucharist too. See how important this is? Incredible, right? She had another place here where she speaks about contemplation of Jesus and how Teresa of Avila and John of the Cross, they're like eagles. They soar high in the air. They're really high. But she's like, I'm not an eagle. I'm just a little bird. Listen to this. I look upon myself as a weak little bird with only a light down as covering. I'm not an eagle. I have only an eagle's eyes and heart. In spite of my extreme littleness, I still dare to gaze upon the sun of love, and my heart feels within it all the aspirations of an eagle. So there it is. God doesn't want infinite works. He wants infinite desire. She has this really strong, noble heart. But she says the little bird wants to fly toward the bright sun that attracts its eye, imitating its brothers, the eagles, whom it seems climbing up toward the divine furnace of the Holy Trinity. But alas, the only thing it can do is raise its little wings To fly is not within its power. What can I do? Will I not die of sorrow at seeing myself so weak? Oh no, the little bird will not even be troubled. With bold surrender, it wishes to remain gazing upon the divine sun. Nothing will frighten it, neither wind nor rain. And if dark clouds come and hide the star of love, the little bird will not change its place, because it knows that beyond the clouds, its bright sun still shines. And that brightness is not eclipsed for a single instant. Skipping ahead a little bit. So this it says, "O Jesus, your little bird is happy to be weak and little. What would become of it if it were big?" Listen to this, kids. You think, isn't it bad that I'm little and I'm powerless? Listen to this. What would happen if I were big? Never would this little bird have the boldness to appear in your presence, to fall asleep in front of you. This was something St. Therese was bothered by. She would go to prayer. How many of you have fallen asleep when you're in adoration? She did that a lot. And listen to what she says, what happens, because she was bothered by it at first. But listen to this. She wasn't bothered anymore. It says, to fall asleep in front of you. Yes, this is still one of the weaknesses of the little bird. When it wants to fix its gaze on the divine sun, and when the clouds prevent it from seeing a single ray of the sun, in spite of itself, its little eyes close, and its little head is hidden beneath its wing, and the poor little thing falls asleep, believing all the time that it's fixing its gaze upon the dear star. When it awakens, it doesn't feel desolate. Its little heart is at peace, and it begins once again its work of love. It calls upon the angels and saints who rise like eagles before the consuming fire. And since this is the object of the little bird's desire, the eagles take pity on it, protecting and defending it, and putting to flight at the same time the vultures who want to devour it. These vultures are the demons whom the little bird doesn't fear, for it's not destined to be their prey, but the prey of the eagle, whom it contemplates in the center of the sun of love. Isn't that great? It's just a little story of a soul. Pick it up, read it. It's amazing, right? Incredible stuff. It's very helpful. Recognize, friends, you're weak. I'm weak. That's not a problem for God. Give yourself to him, and he will make your weakness into strength. St. Therese of the Child Jesus, pray for us.